Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3526. Today's date is August 8, 2025. It's been almost like morning at 7:45 a.m. Alright, we directly jump into the question. By the way, I'm not actually asking question to myself. I'm actually asking psychological question. Be specifically, I'm actually asking a test, a psychological test. The name of the test is a test of determine the level of sociability by way of Roshosqua. Roshosqua. I'm not really sure, very hard to pronounce, but this is the test that I'm giving right now. Okay. By the way, I already asked 11 questions. Still, there are by the way, I'm asked almost like a I don't know a couple of questions I asked. Still, 11 questions are remaining. So I'm gonna continue this test. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's go. Question is: are you annoyed if stranger on the street ask you for direction, the time, or any other kind of information? No, I will not annoyed if the stranger asks me any kind of like a direction or any kind of like information. No, I happy to help. No. Do you believe it is difficult for people of different generation to understand each other? Oh, I think yes. Yeah, basically is this thing I seen a lot. Okay, yeah, that key different kind of like a generation don't really understand is this thing. Basically, what is early generation? The in modern world, the technology is actually changing so rapidly that key um, we have to kind of like a shifted our population into the generation. Okay, yeah, the people who actually born after the 1996 they called as a Gen Z. Okay, yeah, I am kind of like a something millennial. Okay, yeah, I am millennial person. Okay, yeah. Gen Alpha is that the people who actually born at the age of almost like a 2020. They call Gen Alpha. Okay, yeah. What exactly is this generation? Because the way that technology changes, other people can't really understand. Like my parents don't really understand what is actually the internet. What is actually they understand internet, but they don't really understand the gravity of the internet. They kind of like a thing that ki internet are meant to be just entertainment. Okay, yeah, but they didn't really know that ki internet is also kind of like a meant to be career and things like that. My parents didn't really believe in that. That's why they are kind of like something always have resistance for kind of like a pursuing as a YouTube career, and they don't really consider that YouTube is a kind of like a some legit career or not. Okay, yeah, and I'm just talking about just a social media. Okay, they don't really understand anything about the AI and things like that. So probably is this thing. Yes, I believe that the different kind of like people of different generation don't really understand each other. That is somewhat true. Yeah. Are you ashamed to remind your friend that he owes you money he borrows few months ago? Okay, that's really good question, but I wanted to understand this question little bit better so that I'm gonna understand this thing even more better. Alright, yeah. Question is, क्या आपको अपने मित्र को यह याद दिलाने में शर्म आती है कि उसने कुछ महीने पहले आपसे पैसे उधार लिए थे? Yeah, definitely. I do little bit feel ashamed when I ask money. I when I ask my money back. Okay, yeah, because yeah, this is kind of like a thing that like basically some people are kind of like a something asking money, and I feel really ashamed to ask my money back. Okay, yeah. But right now I'm like a really like little bit something hard and stone. Okay, yeah, because if someone is actually asking money, then I will kind of like legitly ask them back, just give my money back. Okay, yeah, because I realize that it's not about the shameful, it's about the money. Okay, yeah, the importance of the money is really essential, and it is really essential for other people that they ask money, they should supposed to be return that money soon as they came back, or kind of like give some sort of follow up regarding about that ki you, I will gonna give you money on this date, that date, or things like that, so that other people are kind of like being really satisfied and stuff like that. Because when it involves the money, it is really essential that ki be transparency regarding about who do you give and things like that. Okay, so but do I feel really ashamed to remind them back to you have to give me back money? um yes, probably sometimes I ashamed. I'm gonna say sometimes. Okay, it's not really that no, it's not really yes, it's a sometimes. Okay, yeah, sometimes I ashamed, sometimes just yeah. If you were serve a dish of obviously poor quality at restaurant, would you keep silent, perhaps just eagerly purchasing the food around the plate? Okay, I wanted to make sure what exactly is this question is about. Let me translate. यदि आपको किसी रेस्टोरेंट में स्पष्ट रूप से घटिया गुणवत्ता वाला भोजन परोसा जाए तो क्या आप चुप रहेंगे या गुस्से में भोजन को प्लेट में इधर उधर धकेल देंगे? ओके, well, no, I will not kind of like do this kind of like something the throw the plate and things like that, definitely not. But I will gonna kind of like something ask to the manager, or kind of like a thing is that the quality of the food that you are kind of like serving is really not good. Okay, really not good. Okay, so instead of I'm tried that ki change this dish. Okay, yeah, or else that ki I will gonna go back and I will not gonna pay any kind of like assembly money. Okay, I will not gonna throw someone dishes, but I will gonna tell that ki your dishes is really not that good. Why are you so being harsh? Like I'm not being really harsh. Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing, when you went to the restaurant you are expected to be eat something good food, one thing. Another thing is that ki if they are purposefully serving this poor quality of food, then probably it's not really good na. Okay, because you are paying money. Okay, yeah, and not just kind of like a something just little bit amount, just you are paying very hefty amount of money. Okay, yeah, so you wanted to make sure that the whatever you are eating something really good, something really great. Okay, yeah, so probably is this thing I'm gonna ask manager very politely that ki the food that you are serving is really not that good, so basically take this plate and I need a kind of like another dish or things like that. Okay, yeah, or else like I will gonna go back, I will gonna go and I will not gonna any pay any kind of like assembly money. I will not gonna stay silent and kind of like a simply just things like that. No, nothing at all. But regarding about this question says that, hey, would you throw the plate? Okay, yeah, I will not gonna throw the plate, so I'm gonna say no here. Okay, yeah, but I will not gonna kind of like only keep silence and eat that thing. It also not. Okay, yeah. But regarding about this question, I would say no, I will not gonna throw the plate. No. When alone with a stranger, do you wait to be spoken first? When you are alone with a stranger, do you wait to spoken first? Sometimes, yeah, it's like basically it's depend on situation and surrounding and things like that. Okay, yeah. Let's just say that ki yeah, sometime I just kind of like simply wait for spoken to be first, or yeah, probably I just kind of like a something, I don't know, yeah, like basically is this thing, do I want to kind of like a something talk to the stranger? um Probably, like as I mentioned, it depends on multiple levels. Okay, yeah, situation, time, people, everything. Okay, yeah, so probably is this thing I would not gonna talk, or maybe I talk regarding about that particular situation that we are experiencing together. Let's just say that we are at bus stop. Okay, and me and another stranger is actually waiting for bus. Okay, yeah, so what kind of like a conversation would I supposed to be asked? I would gonna say that ki I need this kind of like a somebody bus. When this bus will gonna arrive, that particular person says that ki this bus will gonna arrive within 10 minutes. So yeah, that's it. This is kind of like a typical conversation that I would gonna do. That's it. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing na ki sometimes I just kind of like a something wait for spoken first, like I'm gonna put the sometimes. Okay, yeah, because as I mentioned, it depends on multiple levels of variation. Okay, time, situation, surrounding and things like that. So yeah, I'm gonna say sometimes. When you see large line of people, for example, in a store, library or cinema, would you walk away? Oh, when you see the large line of people, or for example in a store or library or cinema, would you walk away? uh I no, not really. Yeah, like let's just say that ki if I want to watch movie, I went to theater and there is a very big line, would you wait? I wanted to watch that movie and I need that ticket, and the only way that I get the ticket to the get into the line, right? Yeah. In 2000 in 2016 or 17, where is a like in India, like 500 and 1,000 rupees of note are banned. So most of people are kind of like waiting for new money, and the only way to get the new money is on the ATM. So most of people are kind of like a simply wait in the line in front of the ATM and things like that. So do I wait? Yeah, I definitely wait. Okay, yeah. It's not really that ki ashamed or fool that ki you don't really wait. No, nothing like at all. It's like that na ki if I need something and there is so many people who are kind of like a something in the line, I will gonna wait. Okay, I will gonna kind of like a somebody be into the line and kind of like a somebody, yeah. Because when you kind of like a somebody do this thing, it kind of like a somebody, not only you are showing the gesture of your politeness, but as well as kind of like you are controlling less crowd and less chaos. Okay, yeah. Because if you are kind of like somebody doing, if you are cutting the line and you're directly went to the counter and things like that, then other people were gonna do the same thing too. Okay, yeah. So it is really essential to follow the rules and protocol when, yeah. So probably I would kind of like something like that ki in large line of people, no, I will not gonna walk away. Oh my god. Oh. So do I walk away from that line? Definitely not. I'm kind of like a son be in that line, and yeah. So I'm not gonna walk away. No. Are you afraid to be part of conflict resolution committee? Are you part of the conflict resolution committee? What's the conflict resolution committee? Conflict resolution committee means like that ki this is actually like, I wanted to make sure what exactly it means. Conflict resolution committee. क्या आप संघर्ष समाधान समिति का हिस्सा बनने से डरते हैं? No, definitely not. Okay, yeah. Like what is actually conflict resolution committee? Conflict resolution committee means like that ki a committee which is responsible to solve the conflict. Okay, yeah. Would you want to part of that? Yes, I wanted to kind of like a simply part of that. Do you afraid of being part of? No, I will not be afraid being part of this resolution conflict committee. Definitely not. Okay, yeah, no. Do you have your own criteria for evaluating work for literature, art, and culture, and will not accept any other opinion? Okay, let me understand this question. What exactly it says? क्या साहित्य, कला और संस्कृति के कार्यों के मूल्यांकन के लिए आपके पास अपने स्वयं के मानदंड है और आप किसी अन्य राय को स्वीकार नहीं करते? ओके, लेट मी ट्रान्सलेट इन मराठी. साहित्य, कला आणि संस्कृतीच्या कामाचे मूल्यांकन करण्यासाठी तुमचे स्वतःचे निष्कष आहेत का आणि तुम्ही इतर कोणतेही मत स्वीकारणार नाही? Okay, I still not understand regarding about this question. I wanted to understand this question little bit better so that I would be kind of like a take the decision very much properly. So I'm gonna go chat GPT and kind of like a explain in simple language. Okay, so I'm gonna put the paste and yeah. Here is a simple example. You judge the book, art, and culture in your own way and don't listen to what other think. Oh, that is really good question. Okay, yeah. Okay, so what is actually the question of says? Okay, the question says that ki do you kind of like a something judge any kind of like a something book, art, or any kind of like a something content or piece of content by kind of like a looking from your point of perspective or kind of like a judge from other point of perspective? Okay, yeah, if you still not really understand, okay, let me clarify. Okay, yeah, are you following the trends or are you not? What exactly is this thing? Okay, yeah, means like that ki you are following trend means like that ki you are kind of like a simply putting the emphasis on other, that other people likes it, that's why you likes it. Okay, means like that your decision or thought process change according to the other people. Trends are usually into that thing. Okay, yeah. Or if you are kind of like a only person who judge the trend or anything regarding about what you like or what you don't like. Okay, yeah, and you accept this thing. Like example, uh, trends are really kind of like a only very relative example that most of people understand. um, do I follow trend? I didn't really follow the trend, nothing really at all. Okay, yeah, I just kind of like a something like such a piece of content or any kind of like a art or any piece of content or any kind of like a somebody culture, things like that. I judge from my point of perspective, and yeah, it is like that. I'm not gonna judge from someone point of perspective and things like that, because this is what it is now, like basically it's this thing na ki I make very huge mistake regarding about thinking like a kind of like a, like basically let me tell you one thing. Okay, yeah, sometimes you are like to be part of crowd. Okay, yeah, and this is what something really true. Okay, because let's just say that everybody is actually taking the engineering course, so you also take the engineering course. I did that thing is because of that ki everyone actually doing it, that so yeah, I wanted to be kind of like a feel really part of the crowd. I don't want to do any kind of like a very different kind of like a stuff. It is also because of that ki we are human and we are social animal, and other whatever the other people do, it kind of like a impact on each other, and we are kind of like a tend to do what other people are doing it. Okay, yeah, this is what our reality. Okay, yeah, are you that kind of like a somebody person? Are you that kind of like a somebody that ki part of the crowd following the trend or things like that? Well, I was that person. Okay, but right now I am not. I am thinking from my point of perspective, what I like, what I don't like, and kind of like a take the decision regarding about what is actually best for me. Okay, yeah. Like before the age of 27, I just kind of like a simply just following the trend and kind of like a simply part of the crowd and things like that. But after the age of 27, I just decide that I just have to kind of like a simply uh, go or live my life by my own terms. Okay, which is kind of like a simply really essential factor for living the best good life as possible as it can. So regarding about this question, uh, do you have your own criteria for evaluating work or lecture, art and culture, and will not gonna accept any kind of like somebody opinion? Yes, I am. Okay, yeah, but also opinion is also really essential, because sometimes you kind of like a thinking about your point of perspective, but other people opinion might gonna help you to decide something much better. Okay, yeah. So as I mentioned that I will not gonna follow the trend. I will kind of like a something the live the kind of like a something the life that I wanted. But it's not always true. Okay, sometimes you have to kind of like a take the decision. You sometimes you wanted to part of the crowd, or sometimes yeah. So probably is this thing na ki regarding about this question, I'm gonna say sometimes. Okay, yeah. It's not just kind of like a things that ki you always gonna write. Okay, yeah, because every situation, every time, every surrounding comes with a different experience, and probably you need help regarding about not just kind of like a piece of content, but as well as the choices that you make or things like that. So I'm gonna say sometimes I kind of like a try to live my life by my own term, or sometimes I take other opinion regarding about lack of experience. So I'm gonna say sometimes, yeah. Next question: do you prefer to be remain silent when overhearding incorrect information about something and you are knowledgeable about that? Yeah, that's a very good question. Okay, yeah. So let's just say there is an example. Okay, yeah, you are in kind of like a something particular group of people. Okay, yeah, and they are actually talking about let's just say photography. Okay, yeah, like because of that, yeah, I'm actually kind of like a little bit good in photography. So they are kind of like talking about photography, this and that and that and that. Okay, yeah. Now they are kind of like a really wrong talking. Okay, yeah, because they are kind of like talking about that okay, how do we supposed to take the photo and things and something like that, and every possible they are kind of like a talking is really wrong. Okay, yeah. So should you correct them or not? Well, I will not gonna correct them. Okay, yeah. Or maybe I will, but as I mentioned is this thing that I'm gonna wait for my opportunity, and then I will gonna talk, or then I will gonna clear them out. Okay, yeah. Why you will not gonna kind of like correct them? Because let's just say that na ki every profession, let's just say photography is not meant to be follow the rule. Okay, yeah. Or maybe it's like a photographer is not meant to be kind of like us only follow this particular rule and then you became the photographer. Definitely not. Okay, yeah. Being photography is a kind of like a only very creative process. Okay, yeah. And when it's kind of like a only creative process means like that ki it's not meant to be like a creative process doesn't really comes with a rule book. Okay, yeah. You have to kind of like a change the every possible way that makes it kind of like a unique and things like that. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki the other people are kind of like a thinking or about this and that. I wanted to know why he was kind of like a thinking and what is actually his purpose or things like that. Okay, yeah. If there is really genuinely kind of like a something really required to correct them, then I would try to correct them, but possible way that I wanted to think from his point of perspective what he was kind of like a thinking. Okay, yeah. And like basically I'm not just kind of like a jump right into them and kind of like a try to correct them. No, definitely not. I'm just kind of like a hearing their point. Okay, and then I will correct. Okay, when I will gonna get the opportunity to talk, then I will gonna correct them. I will not gonna just jump right into them and just correct every possible way and things like that. So would you prefer to remain silence when you are, I'm gonna say sometimes, yeah, sometimes. So I'm gonna say sometimes, yeah. Next question: do you get annoyed when someone asks you for help at work or school? No, nothing at all. I will not gonna annoyed. Nah, definitely not all. Okay, yeah. Next, are you more willing to represent your point of view, opinion, or assessment in writing rather than verbally? Oh, yeah, that is really good. If I wanted to kind of like a something willing to present my point of view, I would kind of like a represent my point of view whatever the way that I could possible, like by verbally or kind of like a writing or things like that. But there are multiple ways you have to figure it out. Okay, people, like as I mentioned, it's not kind of like something right and wrong. It's not kind of like something that key, like this is exactly right and this is exactly wrong. No, definitely not. You have to figure it out every possible point of perspective. It's not just kind of like something you are right, so you just speak up, but you speak up at very uncomfortable uncomfortable kind of like assembly people and things like that. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna look at the surrounding and situation, and I will gonna take the kind of like assembly. If there is a kind of like some people who really require my opinion or things like that, I will gonna give them. Okay, yeah. If they don't really require my opinion and things like that, I will not. Okay, yeah. But I'm gonna say sometimes I'm willing to represent my point of view, opinion, in writing rather than verbally. I would gonna say sometimes. Okay, yeah. Like sometimes it depend on you have to be speak up and things like that. So I'm gonna say sometimes. All right, I complete the test. Okay, yeah. Let me clarify what is actually test and kind of like something gives me what is exactly meaning of this test. Okay, yeah. So basically what I do is that I just took the screenshot, put it on here. Okay, and describe this image. Okay, yeah. So okay, regarding about this report, they are kind of like a put little bit of opinion regarding about me. Okay, what is that report? Report says you are very friendly. I am, maybe even too friendly. Yeah, I am. Yeah, too friendly. Probably. Yeah, I'm not really accept that I'm really too friendly, but yeah, I'm friendly. Yeah. Are you curious? Yes, I am. Like to talk a lot. Yes, I like to talk a lot. Yeah, but yeah, I like to talk a lot. Okay, yeah, but not really the way that. Okay, yeah, and enjoy discussing many topic. Yes, I like to discuss many topic. Through this can annoy each other sometimes. I didn't really annoyed. Okay, yeah, did I annoyed? Like basically, like most of the things that I stuff to talk, I just talk in artifact. Okay, yeah, but I don't really think that I just annoyed somebody while talking. But how do I supposed to know that? You like meeting new people? Yes, I like. And being center of attraction? Yes, I like that thing. Okay, yeah. You don't refuse request from other, but you can't always help. Yeah, I don't really refuse request from other. No. You can get angry, but calm down very quickly. That is true. You lack of persistent patience and courage when facing the big problem. Oh my god, that's a like basically when you facing the big problem. No, I'm completely wrong with that thing. Okay, yeah, when I'm facing very big problem, I am literally patience and courage and things like that. It's completely wrong. When I'm facing the very big problem, I would try to face them head on and things like that. And for that thing, you just have to be patient and persistent. So this point is completely wrong. Okay, yeah, like your lack of persistence and patience and courage when facing the big problem. But like it may be like I don't know. Probably at this my point, I have to be kind of like really work on myself. But yeah, if you want, you can push yourself not to give up. Yeah, that is true. So this is kind of like a some report card. Okay, which is something really good. Okay, yeah, whatever, I just have to end it. Okay, and I just complete this test. In this next couple of artifact, I'm gonna talk about this kind of like some questions. Okay, psychological questions, so that I would understand myself a little better. All right, this is it, and thank you.